Alright, today's lesson we're going to be learning about how to properly poach eggs and hopefully make a proper avocado toast with poached eggs. Okay, I prefer a nice grain, multi-grain bagel. You could use like a sourdough or anything like that. So our mise en place, we have our salt, black pepper, 2 good eggs, some souffle cups, a wire strainer that'll help us with those wispy whites that I'll show you an example of, and those avocados, of course, a nice ripened one that we have controlled ourselves. Okay, so this isn't product placement, but of course I always like to use Nellie's eggs. Best flavor, best freshness, and if you really want to go there, you can add some heat. So first off, let's talk about how to properly crack an egg open. You need a flat surface, and I'm going to do it from this angle so you can pretty much see. Give it a good tap, put your thumb in, and try to do that Pac-Man thing where you open it up and it just opens like a clamshell. It comes right out. The reason we do this, and we don't do it on the hard edge, is so you don't break the yolk. If you do it on the side of a bowl, side of a table, it may break. So we're going to talk about those wispy whites. It's the liquidy part of the egg white. As you can see, it's towards the side, and that's where I'm going to use my wire mesh strainer. So I'm going to now strain that egg right through. So I just keep the albumin part as well as the egg yolk, but I'm not going to be too rough because I don't want to scramble it. But you see, just lightly tap that. Okay, and those whites will, those wispy whites as I like to call them, will start to come down. Okay. Do that a few times, give it a little tap, and then put it into a ramekin and get it ready to be poached. So if you work in a restaurant or something, you could have a bunch of them either in souffle cups or in ramekins, and you can see that there's less liquidy white and there's more albumin. You can see how much that came out from using that metal wire strainer. That was the main reason for that. So from another angle, a little better this way, you can see more of the wispy whites in that white ramekin. Okay, and that little souffle cup, I'm going to, scrape that wispy egg white off. I keep saying wispy whites, and you get them all lined up. The souffle cups, so if you have little ramekins, so if you're doing multiple amounts at a time, you have them ready to go. So I have 2 right here, ready for my mise, and I've worked stations in my career where I just would have like a whole bunch like that, and you could do like 5, 6 at a time, once you get the method down. Okay, so have your setup again from right to left like we usually do. At least that's what I prefer. So we're gonna get them in the water and create a vortex. Now this is the most important thing. We want it a little less than boiling. Okay, and then we're gonna create a vortex by gently stirring it in a clockwise or counterclockwise method. Make sure your pot doesn't fall off like mine likes to go. But you don't want too fast, and then you're gonna just pour it right into the middle, one shot, boom. And you'll see it start to set up nice and easy. Okay, and this is where you have to be a little patient. You gotta let it set up. Don't start poking at it. Don't start trying to flip it over. We'll get to that point in a little while. You could kind of baste it with a little water. You see some of those other little wispy whites. You can use your spider or your colander, whatever you have, to just scoop them out, throw them on that sheet pan. Just put them aside. At the end, you could, fix them all up. But you see that yellow center right there. Once that yellow starts to go away, and there's more white than anything, you could try to lightly flip it with a big tablespoon. But that's a sign that it's about there. See, I'm kind of tapping it a little. All right, you don't want to be too rough. And then we'll try for that flip here. Get that confidence. Boom. So you gotta be nice and gentle. Don't like try to push the spoon into it. Just try to give it a nice and gentle turnover. And there's a little bit of extra egg white hanging off. That's actually the chiles, that chain thing that holds it to the shell. We'll just peel that off. But we want it to be perfectly cooked and runny. You don't want to leave it in there too long because you want it to be runny when you cut into it. If you were working in a restaurant, many times you would just put these into an ice bath and shock them like we did the asparagus or other veggies to stop the cooking process. And you can see it's nice and jiggly right there, and set it aside for use. You could just cut that little nib off on the side, but you can see right there it's got a nice runny center. All right, let's try it one more time. And you see, if you don't have all those wispy whites and just crack an old egg, like we said, they have to be very fresh. You're not going to have to keep changing the water, so you just create that little void. So this guy is just about to be ready. There he goes. Okay, just be careful though. Sometimes you got to finesse that. You can't just be overconfident and just rip right through, and then once you rip that egg yolk open, it destroys that water. Then you got to start everything all over again. All right, we're looking good. Thinking about ready to take this one out. Just don't take it out too prematurely because you want it runny, but you don't want it to be too runny. You don't want it to be raw. All right, so he's good to go. All right, maybe a little longer. But that tool I use, it's like about a couple bucks on Amazon. It's called a spider. It's used a lot for frying and for things I'm doing like right here, especially in Asian cuisines. It's made of bamboo and aluminum. It's very cheap, very good. I go through a few of them a year actually. They come from any size, from small to gigantic. All right, so if you want to add some heat to your avocado poached egg sandwich, just slice them up. And just a refresher here of how we, cut the avocado open. Remember to roll it down the knife. Don't hack at it with the knife. All right, just roll it down, split it open. Okay, it's got a little brown at the top. We'll just take that off. It's all right, no big deal. The reason is it won't taste that bad, even though it's just a little brown, but it will discolor the rest of our mashed avocado. So remember, we use the heel of the knife, take out that pit, twist, and take that guy to the trash. All right, so we're gonna keep this simple. It's not like a full-on guac method. With avocado toast, you really just want a really good fresh avocado, and we're just gonna put some salt and pepper. I think I added a little bit of chipotle powder just for some heat. And with me, I like to end this with some smoked sea salt and maybe some smoked paprika too. So just squeeze into a bowl, and you're just giving it a light mash so it has that body and it keeps that structure. All right. No lime, like we said. You don't want that acidity. The acidity doesn't really go too well with the poached egg. And plus the juice into a nice toasted bagel, it's not too good. Or any kind of multigrain. This dish really goes well with any kind of a multigrain. So salt and pepper, just a little bit. My lightsaber thing there, just mash it lightly. Keep it a little chunky. We're not going for like a nice puree. And don't let Dunkin' Donuts fool you. I know I love Dunkin', but I don't see any fresh avocados laying around. So they use the same bag stuff like in Subway. It's prepackaged. And Applebee's and everybody else too. So, all right, cool. So this guy's ready. We'll set him aside. All right, now I got this nice and toasted. Keep it healthy. Like butter or oil on there. Just put about half of the avocado mixture on each side. And I really don't want to smear it because you want it to stand up a little bit when you plate it. All right, just gently push it to the sides. Okay, now we'll arrange this on a plate. We've got our eggs ready to go. This is going to be nice here. Right. Just plate it simply like that. Always try to go for some height. Any brunch place will probably charge you $20 or more for this dish. So gently take your eggs and try to place them on as nice and easy as possible. That's fish spatula we've used in other recipes. It's really good. It bends really well under things, so you don't have to kind of like scrape what you're trying to get at. So just arrange them just like that. Try not to fuss too much with it so it doesn't burst on you. Alright, now I'll add some jalapeno on top just for some extra heat. You don't have to do that if you choose to do this project. Me, I like a lot of heat with my stuff, especially when it comes to eggs and guac or anything egg and avocado, a little sea salt. Alright, some of that pepper and smoked paprika also goes well. Alright, just a little bit, not too much. You don't want to take away from that nice velvety flavor of the egg yolk. A little bit of cilantro if you like. Just tear some leaves. You don't go crazy when you're garnishing stuff like this. You want to keep it simple. Just some of that smoked sea salt. Like, where are you, man? I've been waiting here. And I think that's pretty much it. I like to add a little sriracha sometimes, but that's up to you. You could do any bread, anything, if you choose to do this as, you know, one of the egg week projects. You could even combine it into both the egg week and the egg sandwich project. And then we'll get rid of egg week. Be done with this. So, I mean, like I said, I like to add a little more extra sriracha. I like my heat, but that's up to you. I like sambal, if you guys know anything about sambal. That's another lesson when we go more into Malaysia and Indonesia. Alright. So just some final shots here. And like, you don't have to make it that spicy if you don't want to. The main idea of this lesson was to get that egg yolk nice and soft, and we'll cut it open here. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. And I know some people may think, oh, yuck, I don't like poached eggs, but dude, it's instant sauce in a packet. Whether it's in a noodle soup, or it's on a sandwich, or if it's like on the asparagus we did, it's a really good thing to learn how to master. So there you see a nice center shot. And don't forget all that massive amount of
bagel seasoning.
Alright guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.